When talking amongst ourselves, we carnivores talk a good game. We say that we're winning the battle for the hearts and minds of the consumer when it comes to avoiding eating plant-based foods and at least continuing to eat meat. And that's true. We've seen red meat go up in not only its price, unfortunately, but also it's the demand for it domestically in the United States and in Western Europe. Countries that had in recent years been scaling back how much red meat people were eating. Unfortunately, the production of that meat is going down. And we are winning the hearts and minds of people when it comes to red meat as healthy food. But the problem we're running into is that the other factor of winning the overall battle, and that's processed foods. It's not exactly a revolutionary statement to say, please avoid eating processed foods. That stuff should at best be a rare treat, at best. Realistically, for your health, you should just swear the stuff off altogether. It's not a revolutionary statement. You don't have to be a carnivore or someone doing keto to admit that high-carb foods, processed foods, are bad for you and they should be avoided. But that's not where we're winning the battle. We all took a little bit of joy, a little schadenfreude last year when the big sort of food science story was that Beyond Meat, which had a meteoric rise in 2020, 2021, suddenly in 2022, its stock crashed. It cratered. They started laying people off. Weird, bizarre stories involving some of their executives and their CEOs leaving the company. And their value now, their stock value, is a fraction of what it had been. The death of that company is openly being talked about now by many in the investment world. We took some schadenfreude in that because it's a sign that we are winning. But now we have news that the processed food industry is going to be doubling down on plant-based meat alternatives, that they are looking for plant-based alternatives to some of their non-meat items. And these are the kind of things they might actually be able to fool people into buying, even if those ingredient lists on the backs of some of those boxes of food in the middle of the store that they produce are going to have ingredients lists that are so long that they don't fit onto the back of the box anymore. It won't matter. They are the next battle, those big corporate processing companies, and they've just announced that they're doubling down. So we will turn to a vegan propaganda outlet called Veg News for this. And I say vegan propaganda because it's going to be pretty clear when we go over the story that somebody, probably Kellogg's or some other company, bought actual ad placement for this. This is essentially an ad for them, that they paid for this or are one of the funders of Veg News. So with that disclaimer, headline from Veg News: Kellogg's and 3 other food giants double down on animal-free foods. Kellogg's decides to hold onto its plant-based food business in a move that reinforces a growing trend among multinational companies such as Nestle, Kraft Heinz, and Bell Group. And this came out a couple of weeks ago. Here is really where this gets really bizarre, because Kellogg's, it had been rumored to be spinning off its plant-based divisions, meaning and I don't mean like the cereal company, I mean like they're fake meat companies, because those numbers were trending downward for everybody. But that's not actually true now. From the article, quote, major food company Kellogg's has decided to keep its plant-based business close to its chest. Last summer, Kellogg's announced it would split company into 3 independent businesses, tentatively called the North American Cereal Company, Global Snacking Company, and Plant Co. Creative. At the time, it explained that it was undergoing a transformation and breaking up the company into these standalone segments, allowing Kellogg's to develop individual strategies for each. Some analysts speculated that this division could lead to a sell-off of the Plant Co. arm. However, after releasing its 4th quarter results this month, Kellogg's announced it will retain its Plant Co. business. After exploring strategic options, the company has decided to retain its plant-based business, which represents 2% of its net sales and offers strong long-term growth prospects, the company said in a statement. Overall, Kellogg's reports an 8% growth in net sales over the past year, bringing it up to $15.3 billion, end quote. Kellogg's should not be that surprising, especially when you actually go back to the history of Kellogg's and how the breakfast cereal was essentially invented to quite literally reduce testosterone to keep people from having kind of what they consider to be nasty habits in their private lives. That's what this stuff was for. Literally, if you don't know the history of Kellogg's or breakfast cereal, it will blow your mind. It's gross. But anyway, them being involved in this is not that surprising. In fact, it actually fits with their founder's ethos in a weird, bizarre way. But they're not the only one. This article goes on to explain Kraft is involved, Kraft Heinz. They had a merger a few years ago, I guess. From the article, quote, Kellogg's is not the only food giant looking at the future of food through a plant-based lens. That's because producing many of the popular products from the past, from Kraft singles to Dove chocolate bars, is becoming increasingly unsustainable given the impact of industrial animal agriculture on the environment. We need a fact check on that one. But huge brands have found better ways to reimagine their post-popular products using innovative animal-free technologies. I should say past popular products, typo there for them. From ketchup to blue box mac and cheese, Kraft Heinz nostalgic products are a big part of a food history, and some of them are getting a modern makeover. The multinational food giant partnered with Chile-based The Knot Company, Knotco, last year to create joint venture the Kraft Heinz Knotco. Knotco's food technology revolves around a platform that uses artificial intelligence to develop next-level plant-based alternatives to animal products, end quote. And there's a picture of that they had accompanying us. There you're going to see American-style plant-based singles, cheddar-style plant-based singles, and provolone-style plant-based singles. You going to eat that stuff? I'm not. They don't sell you what's in there, but I guarantee you it's going to be probably palm oil, soybean oil, and probably soy paste. That's what that stuff's going to be. Why would you eat that? We already know that those things cause horrifying levels of inflammation in the body and are just generally bad for you as human beings. This is not proper human food. And as our health costs continue to skyrocket, this is going to make things worse. This is why I think Veg News, after hearing this stuff, the way I've read this, you can tell these companies paid for this article or pay for some of Veg News costs. They're probably investors in it. And it would not surprise me if the industry that will be responsible for fixing the problems caused by this improper human diet are behind this as well. Curious what you think of this, so let me know in the comments. Please, will you eat this stuff when it comes out? And how do we convince big food producers, the artificial food companies, to, well, make proper food for human beings? And how do we do that also in keeping with our own values of not eating processed foods to begin with? Let me know what you think about this in the comments. Please like and subscribe. If you haven't, it does help, as does sharing this on social media. That helps a lot too. I'm Anthony Stine, the Practical Carnivore. Thanks for tuning in today.